felt widely in densely populated Los Angeles, there are no reports of major damage. Well, you can follow the show on X at The Lead CNN. If you ever miss an episode of The Lead, you can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts. The news continues on CNN with Wolf Blitzer, reporting live from Tel Aviv in the Situation Room.
Happening now, the Israeli military is on high alert amid warnings that Iran may attack within days or perhaps even hours. The United States speeding added defenses to the region, preparing for the expected strike by Iran to be significant. Also this hour, Donald Trump has unleashed
the Democratic National Convention next Monday at 7 on CNN and streaming on Max.
That her huge crowds were faked. This as Harris is gaining in pivotal battlegrounds with the Democratic Convention now only 1 week away. Plus, Trump is now asking for $100 million from the U.S. Justice Department, seeking alleged damages for the FBI's classified documents search at Mar-a-Lago. Stand by for details on the long shot bid and the likely political motive behind it. Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Tel Aviv, and you're in the Situation Room. We begin here in the Middle East as the Israeli and U.S. militaries are ramping up preparations for a possible revenge attack by Iran, a strike that potentially could happen at any time. CNN's Oren Lieberman is standing by for us over at the Pentagon. But first, let's bring in CNN's Nick Robertson. He's here with me in Tel Aviv. Nick, what's the latest on a potential retaliation strike from Iran on Israel?
I think it's less optimistic than it was just a couple of days ago. Diplomats I've been talking to say that the mood music around these talks set for Thursday is not as positive and optimistic as they were hoping for. We have heard from a diplomat in the region saying that there is a likelihood that Hamas will now attend the talks. I think you're seeing a lot of posturing in the run-up to the talks. We've heard that the Iranian president today has had conversations with the British Prime Minister, the German Chancellor, the Chinese Foreign Minister, and to all of them, Iranian media is reporting he has said that Iran has the right to respond and strike back at Israel. So it's a very tough narrative on all sides at the moment, Wolf.
The people here are bracing for a worst-case scenario, the Iranians attack.
A real concern that Iran is building up for what may be more than just a limited attack, that this could be a wider strike. Of course, the U.S. naval assets coming into the region will provide protection for Israel and for U.S. troops in this region. But the fact that they've been speeded up, the fact that they've been announced, all indicates that the tensions are rising. The talks Thursday may not even happen. We might not even get there. That said, again, we have to read the machinations and the language we're hearing at the moment as the sort of thing that you hear leading up to high stakes talks where everyone's setting out their maximalist position, trying to pressure the other. There is room for diplomacy, but there's also room for mistakes and strikes.
There certainly is. Our Nick, standby. I'm going to get back to you. Oren Lieberman, you're over at the Pentagon for us. The United States has ordered a major submarine to head to the Eastern Mediterranean. Aircraft carrier battle groups are on the way as well. This is a huge decision by the Pentagon.
Absolutely, and it is arguably the largest buildup of U.S. forces in Central Command in the Middle East that we've seen since very early in the war. In a call with his Israeli counterpart, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that he'd ordered the USS Georgia, a cruise missile submarine that was already in the Mediterranean, towards Central Command, towards the Middle East. That is an offensive weapon, although the Pentagon has described these adjustments to force posture as, quote, defensive in nature. A submarine with its land attack cruise missiles, with its anti-ship missiles, is first and foremost a message of deterrence to Iran and its proxies, but it also gives the U.S. a very powerful offensive weapon should it choose to use them, as it sees how Iran and its proxies choose to carry out this anticipated attack. Austin also ordered the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group to accelerate its movements towards the Middle East. Just a couple of days ago, it was in the Pacific Ocean, so that will take time. but it's worth noting that Austin ordered it sped up, essentially get there as quickly as possible. And once it arrives, that means it will have the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, the Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, at least for the time being, as well as an amphibious ready group, which includes destroyers and other warships in the Mediterranean Sea. So you see that buildup. Of course, the crucial question is, what is Iran planning? What are its proxies planning? And how large will this attack be? You can see in the U.S.'s force posture changes, the U.S. is preparing for what could be a very large attack, at least the possibility of a large attack.
And Oren, I spent several years as a Pentagon correspondent. It's pretty extraordinary.